What is going on, everybody? This is Mike from the Last Corvette. So this video is about my little Chevy Equinox that I have. This is a 2020. It has the auto stop, auto start function. It does not have a bypass button to turn the auto stop, auto start off. I believe that was in like 2022 or 2021, something like that. They started doing that. This is a 20, but it still has this option. So I bought this vehicle from a dealer's auction. I ended up driving this vehicle all expressway because it was in Michigan versus having it transported is just cheaper that way. All right, so as promised, I'm going to show you guys the two fuses before it gets dark, and then I'm going to explain a couple of things. So if you actually search the forums, this is somewhat of a common issue, I guess, where the auto stop, auto start stops working. People have taken their vehicles to the dealership, they do software updates, they do, I'm sure, resets. They also always blame the battery, saying, hey, you got to replace the battery is original. But I mean, 2 to 3 year old batteries, properly maintained, shouldn't have any issues. So anyway, it is this fuse right here. This is a 10 amp fuse. So if you're looking to the, I guess at the top of the engine, right in front of the battery. So this is 10. And if you look at the cover, F05 is a flex fuel sensor. Like I said, this vehicle is not flex fuel at all. And then the second fuse that I pulled is this one right here. You got to take the cover off like this, pull this little 5 amp fuse out, and kind of give you guys an idea. It lives right here next to the battery, positive battery terminal that I assume opens up. Yep, there it is. So this battery had no issues. And if your Equinox's stock has never been messed with, you do get this little tool to pop your fuses out. And then what you do is you just reinstall your cover. I believe it goes like this. Yep, like this. So just basically you got 3 push pins, or I should say, we'll say hooks or latches. One here, one here, one here. And then you just basically snap it into place like so. So anyway, I pulled the 10 amp fuse, flex fuel, F05, and I also pulled this guy here that clearly runs to the positive terminal. And this is a 1.5 turbo Equinox. Let me close this hood here. I'm gonna lock the vehicle. Not sure about the 2.0s, but this is a 1.5 2020 all-wheel drive Equinox. And yes, this here actually solved the issue. The auto stop, auto start sequence started working like it should. Don't know why. Like I said, I never looked up the schematics to see what those fuses actually do. But 10 amp flex fuel and then a 5 amp right behind the battery should do the trick and also save you money if you're trying to take your vehicle into the dealership or a service shop. But of course, a couple of things, as I mentioned before, for the auto stop, auto start to work, weather conditions have to be right. So if you're running full on heat, full on AC, it's not going to come on most of the time. Heated seats, if the vehicle is not fully warmed up or up to full operating temperature, it's not going to work. And besides that, it should work, and mine didn't. Like I said, I've never had a dead battery on here. I don't know what happened at the phase where it got repossessed and, you know, and basically purchased by me. But like I said, I drove this vehicle on an expressway and never noticed any issues because I never stopped pretty much. And even if I did stop, I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, pulling those 2 fuses actually works to reset your auto stop, auto start function. All right, so to close this video out, the first portion is me today driving the vehicle home from work, and you can clearly see the RPM or the needle on the tach being in the auto stop position. And then when I let off the brake, restarted the engine, and it was at idle, and then I took off, and that's how it's supposed to work. Now, some people love it, some people hate it, most people hate it, but at the end of the day, to me, of all the newer vehicles that I've owned, it never bothers me. It's fluid, it's seamless, and it works. You can get modules and harnesses like Equinox GM vehicles. You can actually buy a little harness off Amazon or anywhere else that literally connects. You open the hood And right in front of the radiator, there's a harness, a small little harness that's there. And it's just basically a piggyback harness, a bypass harness to disable this function altogether. It's actually one of the things that I checked last night when I did this test. And no, there's no harness. It's all stock. And once I did my reset with a 10 amp fuse, 5 amp fuse, I drove the vehicle down the block to a first stop sign. It shut off, restarted like it should, and did the same thing today. Now, of course, like I said, the vehicle, for this function to work, the vehicle needs to be full operating temperature. You can't have extreme conditions, hot or cold. You can't have all the accessories running, you know, like full blast, for it to actually shut off and stay off, type of thing. And of course, the battery needs to be fully charged. I think every forum, every post that I read was always, well, the dealership, you know, updated the software, or the dealership replaced the battery, but did they do a full reset on the vehicle with the scanner? Which I own one, but is one of those things where I just wanted to figure this out like a different way, because there's nothing else wrong with the vehicle besides that function wasn't working. And when I picked up the vehicle from the auction, from the dealer's auction, I drove it. It was all expressway, 2.5 hours away from my house here in Michigan. And then I don't really recall or remember when I got off the expressway if the vehicle was shutting off, or, you know, auto stops start function was working. The only difference on the newer Equinoxes, I think it's like 21 or 22 and up, is you do have a button to disable it after you restart the vehicle next to the hazard light, or the hazard button, I should say. But other than that, this reset works. So if you have this issue, try it. It's not going to hurt nothing. Pull the fuses, wait a minute or whatever it is, 50, 60 seconds, and put them back in, and you should be good to go, and, you know, save yourself a trip to either a dealership or a sort of a shop that you guys choose.